We live and we learn. Did I just hit it? I think I don't want to wear. That's better. Hello, welcome to my tube. My name's Marge. I'm a Heyoka empath, and I just like having these little talks on the way I feel about things. It's been a hard day for me. I think Looney Tunes is doing better, but man, it was one of those. Well, because she just didn't come out of the anesthesia real good, I don't think. She was real whiny all night long. And when I say I didn't sleep last night, I mean there wasn't probably longer than a period of an hour that I think she was like even whining in her sleep or so, you know? But it's just, I'm empath, so it freaking hurts my whole body when things that I love or even things that I don't love suffer. I just hate seeing suffering, you know? I can tell a lot of people haven't suffered in their lives because they're not like that. They have no problem watching people suffer and struggle. Makes them feel good for some weird reason. So, I still got to live a little bit in service today. I had to, just because I made a commitment yesterday. And of course, it was before I knew she wasn't, going to have a hard time, but I usually like to try and keep my word at all costs. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes things work out and I don't. I'm not 100%, ain't nothing is. But I try to. I've known too many people that just don't. I've told people, just don't tell me you're going to do it. Don't tell me just don't tell me you're going to, just do it. Don't tell me you're going to do it. Because then that leaves too much room for people saying they're going to do stuff and then not doing it. I don't like that. So, you got to understand, I left the Air Force after 6 years because the standards were part of my own moral fiber. My own personal constitution was a lot stronger than anything I saw in the Air Force. Generation after generation, it's just more fraud, waste, and abuse. And the good old boy system with the government contracts, everyday Joe can go into freaking Ace Hardware, buy a book. Well, wood's a bad example right now because inflation, man, everything's going up right now. But heck, some of us have been anticipating this for a few years. I was listening to Zach. He's a Cancer. Fragine looked him up. He's a Cancer, so he's real passionate. Cancers are very nurturing, very passionate, very, But there's so much passion that passion just turns into fire, and fire burns if you're not careful. That's why balance is so important. He's a pretty balanced guy, though. He really is. Credit to his mom. Zach Hubbard, your mom did a good job. I was just thinking about a decode I was going to look at with Bradley Noel, because the first song I played off the gate today was Sublime. I don't have a lot of regrets in my life. I really don't. But as far as life experience of not doing something, I regret hanging out with that girl and not going to Eureka, California in 93, 94 and seeing Sublime play. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't sleep last night, and I'm a baby bitch. I could be a bear when I don't get enough sleep. I just to get curt, and I want less bullshit than I already get. I went to the store today, and I was walking out, and I'm like, this was a weird thing. This is when God was like, you need to slow down, and I recognized it immediately. And because I had a bad attitude, and I needed to adjust it quick because this is how he let me know. I was walking out of the store and I reached in my pocket, grabbed my keys, and I look at them, but my minivan key wasn't on it. And I was like, what the fuck? It's fallen off a couple times because it's just on one of these old... I got it from when I worked at Creighton. See, Creighton was such a shithole, they give you rape whistles for all the people. For employees in swag bag and stuff, you get whistles, you know, to alarm that somebody's gonna get ya. Those crazy Jesuits. Anyway, I got 2. I had a couple more, but they broke over the years. Anyway, so this key fell off this. But the weird thing is I found this key in my coat pocket. I had a little, like, cardigan thing on. And it was in the pocket, which was really weird because I don't ever put my keys in that pocket. But this key was in separate from this. So I was like, alright, I'm paying attention now. And my heart softened. I bought myself one of these. I haven't seen one of these in years. I don't know if, do they still have watermelon Jolly Rancher? I don't know if they do or not, but this tastes a lot like those, only in liquid form. No caffeine. I want to thank Kijin for sharing me. She shared my astro chart reading. That was really pretty cool. It always makes me feel good because that's the only time my views like really spike is when she shares me. So I like to share her too. I shared Zach on Twitter today. I wonder if he's gonna talk all the way through. Are they doing that? Here, give me the bowl, Mom. Come here, Benny. No, Artie. That thing where with Rambo tonight, isn't it Wednesday Rambo night? Friday Jessie night's coming up on the reveal report. I recommend that people hear her. I'm not a reader, although I think I might talk myself into it because I've been reading the Bible thing that I got. Not a lot, because it puts me to sleep. Now, if they had this stuff on video, or I could listen to it as my bedtime stories. I listen to a lot of different talks on my bedtime stories. So, what else happened today? There's a lot of stuff going on. There's so much. It's like every now and again they do these things, and it's just like a freaking. It's like a syringe full of fear. With all and in the syringe, it's all this stuff. You got this media crap. You got the pipeline. You got the vaccine themselves. You got all this fear, right? Big old dose of fear. And then the media is like injecting it into the mainstream of society. And then occasionally they do Hollywood's fallen. I saw the Golden Globes was canceled, and I'm really excited about that. And I really like how Zach was just talking about Jay-Z, because I don't even it's not even fun to track musicians anymore, because they're all freaking nasty, dirty pawns. Creepy, dirty pawns. What? Did you say something, Mom? Excuse me. Pardon me. What? Oh, the DVD video bouncing? Tuck's loving on his little lady. But, I have never liked Jay-Z. Ever. 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 At any point have I ever... You know why? I never even cared about his music, because I remember in the early 90s, he was a crack dealer. Okay? Now, I'm a drunk. I'm an alcoholic. I don't drink, though. But it's the same dis-ease. So, crack addicts, and then you have all the pill heads, they're all different remedies for different diseases. And they all come from different heart spaces. So, drunks don't really think like addicts don't think, like junkies, pill heads, whatever, There's all these different heart spaces. But it's all hurt, and it's trying to make people feel better or escape from the hurt, right? Well, we're coming into an age that people will benefit more if they address those pains and hurts, and then you don't need that other stuff. People are getting more physical, more active. Some people are, not a lot, from where I can see, but more people are, you know. The sun, I saw it in the chat on, that California is ending their mandate on June 15th or something like that. And I'm just like, these stupid things never should have happened to begin with. You know? It's just so weird to go through life and go through the post office. And I'm not wearing a mask. I wear a mask in Wally World. But I wear it over I wear it over one ear, and then I wear it over this guy, and then I pull it down under my face. And I ignore everyone. No, I don't ignore everyone. I say, hello, how are you today? Or whenever I go into a store and I talk, I always pull it down so they can hear me. And then put it back up. You know? But, you know, a lot of these people, they know it's stupid too. The only thing it is they're miserable. And they have to do it. And people want you to be like them. So they're going to require that you do it because their little bitch asses do it. Because that's what people will do for a paycheck, see? It's a slippery slope. If you are an obedient little minion, the controllers will only find more ways to control you. And it's weird how so many people want to... I freaking hate being controlled. I was so controlled when I was growing up. I didn't have a lot of freedom, even though I took my own liberties, if that makes sense. You know? I kind of always did my own thing and just dealt with the consequence of my actions, because Mom always told me that that's what you're going to do. You ditch school, you don't graduate, that's on you. I barely graduated high school because my only 2 required classes were 5th and 6th period, the last 2 classes after lunch. And I was always late for English, Mrs. Chase. That was like, teachers are mind-numbing sometimes, you know? Sometimes the personalities don't match, and anyway, she was one of them. And it was one of those that she thought she was really funny, and I just never saw the humor in anything she ever said. But I was the asshole because I didn't think she was fun. I got that crap my whole entire life. I'm like, in tech school, the teacher looked down at me and he's like, don't you ever laugh? And I'm like, only when I hear something funny. That was the class I got washed back from. Yeah. So, you know, people say they like strong personalities and they like strong people until they run into one, and then they're freaking... it don't work out that way. So, I was talking about how more people are getting fit. And so I'm going to go walking around. I'm going to take like about an hour and a half. Go pick up a buddy and then just walk around town because it's hilly. And I got a couple pounds. I got a couple extra pounds from... In the winter, I like to drink coffee and put creamer in my coffee. But that's the only other really time I drink it anymore. And then I stopped drinking decaf. I can't even drink caffeinated coffee. I'm already... you know? So, get up there, buddy. Go ahead. Go ahead, handsome. Good boy, Tata. Good boy. Oh, I thought that was Luna. That's Benny. Anyway, I can't... what else? So pipeline. So there's just... I know people are freaking out around here because, like, Luna was up all night long, and so I kept taking her out because I go, you want to go outside? And then she'd, like, perk up and then want to go outside. So I thought the fresh air was doing her good, you know? So I was like, oh, anything to make you feel better, Liebchen. And so the sky was so black. It was so black in Taos, like House, New Mexico. And I was telling another buddy about it today, and I'm like, and then there were like, because I didn't have my glasses on, but there's like a ray of light that like went up. It was a trip. It was very Truman Show. And like with the lighting got wonky kind of thing, but it was so black. And my buddy had commented on it today. He's like, "Did you see the sky last night?" And I'm like, "As a matter of fact, I did." And he even talked about what a trip it was. And he's lived here like 20 years or 18 years or something like that. So that's what this place is known for is, Roswell's just south, you know. There's a lot of activity going on. As above, so below. As within, so without. A lot of people are waking up to whatever, depending on their life path, their life lessons. A lot of people are waking up to their reveal, whatever that is. I just found out something yesterday. I'm not going to talk about it here, but it was just like, oh man, that's a bummer. Somebody I know lost their kids. 4 of them, yeah.
Did they die?
No, just lost them to the system. Not healing those hurts. People chase sensations. And oftentimes, people don't gotta freaking kill people to sacrifice people in their lives. I mean, I look at Mom and me as a sacrifice my brother made a long time ago. Do it on your own. Do it yourself. It's been hard. But here we are, And, people sacrifice their kids all the time without killing them. Sacrifice, trading their, some people just can't get clean. Some people just can't. They just can't. And it's an unfortunate thing. And I'd like to help people, Go ahead. Even though if you don't get too caught up in the particularities and the uniqueness, even though just earlier I said, it's a different headspace that the junkies come from, that, it's a different, but the pain is all the same. The pain is all the same. So, I have a pretty good way of communicating with people, and I've dealt with a lot of pain, I read an excerpt on what was that? I was going to shift gears there. Is that I don't ever really talk about my, the thunder dream that they talk about for Heyoka, so to speak. And as I've understood it, because I've seen a lot of different interpretations from what people consider a thunder dream, okay? Now, if you look at it on research, or if you research it on Google, it gives you stuff about the thunder gods. And that's like Zeus, all that Greek mythology. I don't want people to get it twisted, because it's not the same thing at all. I don't see it. And if other people do, then that's fine for you. But evidently, thunder gods come see you. And, people have such a horrific experience, dream, they call it dreams, but I don't think it matters if it's a dream or it's something that happened, at a young age. And what it does is it causes, in the clinical world, they have a word for it, but it causes, when your body, our soul sacs are only made to endure so much pain, so much. It's because, our endocrine system is our electrical field. And so when that reaches a peak, because people are seeing things that people aren't supposed to see, or experience things that people aren't supposed to experience, because human beings, on a universal law level, are not supposed to treat other human beings that way. So your spirit can't handle it. Or your spirit can handle it, but your soul sac and your psyche are less inclined to be able to cope with things. I got story after story, So when you get to a point that you're just kind of witnessing life. You're experiencing life and witnessing life. However, there is less emotion. As far as myself and my interpretations of the world, most of the emotions that I feel are not mine. It's me empathizing for other people because I've been through what they've been through. So it kind of is indirectly. But the first time that happened, I was 10 months old. And I didn't know. See, because people are always like around me. And I would throw tantrums, you know. But Mom was pretty good about it. I wouldn't do that around because my dad was a dick. But because I would just tighten up my whole body, and then I'd get to a point, and then I'd relax, so I was looking for that release. So that was my tantrum. I'd hold my breath and throw myself on the ground and just thrash around and stuff like that. And then I'd get that release, and then the emotion was gone. It was gone. So everybody was hush-hush around me when I was a kid, and then when I was 13 years old, I always snooped. I'm just a snooper. I'm an investigator. I want to know the truth because people don't give it to me, so I got to find it. And I found it, and I read the police report on the account. And it's weird because as a 10-month-old baby, I was raped as a 10-month-old baby. And then, you know, I don't recall that. My spirit recalls it. You know, because every 7 years, we're not even on a cellular basis the same person. Our spirit is the pulse that is consistent throughout. So now I'm 47, so 7, 14. So about 7 times over, I've been a different person. I mean, I've evolved, you know. And so my hip still pops. Never been a good runner. I have a weird gait. Like, I walk on the side of my feet. And then when I see other people that have the same wear and tear in my shoes, I kind of wonder. I just kind of wonder, you know. And that's what the world's figuring out, is that this whole world, this country, this nation, this world, and with all this shit, you know, it's been 19 years since we had a bullshit military conflict, and it makes me sick. I don't understand. See, when I went in the Air Force, it was because I was 26 years old, I didn't have any other options, and I screwed around a lot. But I needed a college education. That was the quickest way. 6 years, I'll trade you. College, you can have 6 years of my life. But what happened in that 6 years, it wasn't worth it. So I will tell anyone and everyone, do not let your children enlist. Why would anybody let your child sign up to potentially die? Especially in this day and age, because the Sweener Wiener Club is back at it. They're back at it. Full swing. It would really suck to see freaking F-16s. They used to have USA freaking tail numbers, wing numbers, tail numbers, and all that we sold to our adversaries. They just sprayed over, put their flags on it, and they're freaking, you know. We ain't never seen that, but it's a different world, so I wouldn't be surprised. I'm glad I don't live in a big city. I'm really glad. Yeah. So, if anybody ever wants to freaking, you know, has to bail or whatever, then the freaking things really get out of crazy, it's a nice place around here. I guess the population gets bigger because the Texans come in. See, and that's another thing. I was thinking about population because they always lie about numbers, right? But there's so many people, including a lot of military members, that have several houses all over the United States because every base they live in, they buy a house, right? So are they counting populations of numbers that are residents that live there all the time, or just part of the year, or, you know, all that stuff? There's no way there's 8 billion people on this planet. There's 7. There's no way. People aren't even doing it. Their number of populations are, you know, because I know a lot of people are having kids. God bless them. But we're not leaving these sensitive kids that are being born a world that they're going to be able to cope very well in, especially with all these, imposed freaking endocrine compromises. Yeah, you know? Ugh, it's a trip. It's a trip. I really do appreciate Zach K. Hubbard, though. I really do. I appreciate his interpretation on things because he helps me put stuff together. And then Jesse Zaboter helps me put stuff together that and I'm just like, oh, all right, that all makes sense. That lines up, and they still play it off as that doesn't happen. But more of us, like Jesse and, other people are coming forward and they're talking about their accounts. And you can tell. That they're speaking their truth. And so these systems are alive and they're well. And a lot of people have made a lot of money off of them for a very long time. I mean, come on. Bill Clinton got a BJ by, what was she, 20 at the time? He was 47. He was old enough to know better, right there. How many, you think that's the only time that happened? I mean, how many people want to bang on the freaking Oval Office desk, and they did, because they could. Because people do weird stuff in the after-hours parties. Yeah. These people didn't start out that way. When you give people whatever they want, the spoiled brat, the things that they desire become more and more twisted and creepy and weird. Because a lot of them, they don't have God or universal law or anything they follow because their self-will is just running riot. So they don't got time for none of that. But God, hell would be just a crappy place to hang out in, I think. I don't like it hot. Although I better get used to it because I guess it feels like you're that much closer to the sun where I live now. So, anyway. Hi, Jello. Hola, Jello. Oh, is it 9 East Coast? See, where am I? So it's 7, so it's a half hour. Yeah, Rambo Night. People bother me, though. That's the thing. People bother me. It's like they like to bother me. I could tell you guys the story real quick about the sheriff in Omaha. I haven't told that one in a while. There's a couple of instances with fucking police in Omaha. But this one, I didn't want to go out, and all my buddies were going out, but I didn't want to stay back at the dorms by myself. So they were all going down to a place in Omaha called Guitars and Cadillacs. It's closed now. And it's a college freaking hick town. Bar, So I was like, all right. And I'm a friendly person. So my buddies were like trying to meet the ladies, and I was awkwardly standing next to a, off in a corner, there's like a beer girl that was selling beers out of a tub, and I bought a beer out of the tub, and I was just standing there watching people just like I always do. And she and I started a conversation. Because most people that work in bars and stuff and, are college students. They go to UNO and shit like that. So we were having a conversation. She was going to UNO, or she was going to nursing school. I don't know if it's She was going to nursing school, and then she was looking at schools out in California. And I was like, well, I'm from California, so what places are you looking at? Because I've been all over. And so she's like, oh, Santa Barbara. And I'm like, it's a nice place. It's really expensive, of course, but it's really nice. I've been there, long weekends and stuff. And her boyfriend was the freaking meathead bouncer at the door. And he starts yelling across and across the way at her, and I'm like, what? What's happening? Because I was freaking buzzed at this point. So I'm like, I'm not real clear here, right? Old boy was thinking I was picking up on his girl, and I'm like, dude, there's nothing of the sort. I was in the I lived in the dorms at the Air Force, and it wasn't legal at that time. And I even got a threatening phone call one night that I was being investigated, and it was somebody I know. It's like somebody I know is their husband that was an SP, and I'm just like, dude, cops are stupid. Anyway, but it was like the end of the night, and I was looking for my friends, and they freaking... No, it wasn't the end of the night yet. It was getting late, though. So it was like... and there's a bunch of people out front. And this guy kept yelling. And before I know it, the sheriff was there. And the sheriff's yelling in my face that I need to be careful. I'm going to call your first shirt and tell him what you're doing. And the girl the whole time is just like, oh my God, my boyfriend is a fucking idiot. She was so embarrassed. She was just like, stop, and all this stuff. They escorted me off the property across the street where there was a median and said, don't come back on the property. And I was like, what the fuck? That stuff has happened to me my whole... I was driving, when I worked at G4S, I was driving down Leavenworth in Omaha, and the car in front of me was a Honda Civic, and he was driving 20 miles an hour, and the speed limit was 25, and I was like, I honked my horn, and I was like, go! And he slammed on his brakes, and I freaking I had to smoke cigars, and I threw a cigar at him, and he gets out, and his badge was swinging from his chest, and he's like, you out of the car! He called his cop. He was on lunch talking to his buddy, holding up for being a dick. He called a cop car. There's actually a statue that says you can't do what this fucker did. Okay? And he had me sit there, called a cop car. It was hot in Omaha. I'm laid back for 45 minutes while he talked to his cop friend. Just make her sit and wait. So... my whole life, I'm not even going to tell a story about how I had a gun drawn on me when I was 15, because it's getting long. But I'm saying, I am a good tool to measure how decent people are. Because I have had so many egomaniacal fucking D-bag tools, men and women too, that just try and put me in my place. Like I got a place. I ain't never had a place. Why are you trying to put me in a place? She alright? She just went. Go ahead. Sassy, I think Sassy's like 17. I was doing the math. 16 or 17. Anyway. So I ain't never met a cop that was a really rad guy. And so many... I've known a lot of people, their cops were dads were cops and stuff like that. I'm like, no, your dad's a dick too. He just buys you stuff, so you're okay with it, right? See, because when people benefit from the broken, twisted system, they're going to allow it, right? I ain't never been the allowing